There's nothing more delicious than when you reveal the identity of your villain, only for your reader to realize that he's been hiding in plain sight all along. In this video, we'll talk about 3 ways to do exactly that. Now, because of the nature of this video, I'm going to be spoiling the endings of every single mystery I talk about today. So I will put their names up here, and your fate is in your hands. To get a look at our first tactic for hiding a villain in plain sight, we're going to look at the first season of Netflix's Lincoln Lawyer, based on the book The Brass Verdict by Michael Connelly. In this story, lawyer Mickey Haller is called to the chambers of Judge Mary Holder to learn that he has just inherited the law practice of Jerry Vincent, a defense attorney who has been murdered. However, because the judge must sign off on the transfer of cases, her reputation is on the line if he fails to serve his clients competently. And since Mickey's been out of the game for a while due to a drug addiction, she's not taking any chances. She orders Mickey to check in with her regularly about each of the cases he's inherited, and this subplot will continue throughout the season. Meanwhile, in the main plotline, we will see Mickey investigating Jerry's death, along with the mystery behind Jerry's juiciest case, that of a tech billionaire who seems almost certain to be guilty of murdering his wife. Along the way, Mickey will learn that the billionaire's case has been fixed from the get-go, due to the bribing of a single juror, a man who was somehow paid off before jury selection even began. This explains Jerry's murder, since his trial strategy involved a delay that would have taken this juror out of the jury pool. He had to go. Who was getting paid off for this jury tampering? Well, none other than Judge Holder, of course. But here is what makes this tactic so ingenious. We never see Judge Holder in the main plotline. We only see her in the subplot about Mickey trying to hold on to his newly inherited practice. And I'm calling this kind of subplot a sidecar subplot because it exists to carry the villain in a storyline that is adjacent to, but not actually within, the main mystery plot. A sidecar plotline gives us the opportunity to spend time with the villain, to form opinions and accumulate clues about her, all without ever considering her a part of the mystery itself. It certainly allowed me to form an opinion about Judge Holder. By the end of this subplot, I was convinced that she was exactly the kind of hard-edged, no-nonsense woman who could carry out a jury-rigging racket and kill a colleague when he threatened to throw a wrench in the works. The second way to hide a villain in plain sight is to give your villain a double identity. One of the most famous uses of this tactic comes from the movie The Usual Suspects, in which the investigation revolves around a shadowy figure known as Kaiser Sose, a crime lord of unmatched brutality and influence. We learn about Sose from the terrifying stories told by Verbal Kint, a small-time con artist with cerebral palsy. But here's the rub. Kint doesn't exist. He's just a false identity created to allow Sose to escape justice. Again, the time we spend with Kint allowed us to accumulate clues and to form an opinion about him, but unlike with Judge Holder, the big reveal doesn't validate our impressions of him. Instead, it leaves us shocked, undermining everything we thought we had understood about the character. That's what double identities frequently do for your villain. They allow him to enter the story as someone sympathetic, like Verbal Kint or like Aaron Stambler in Primal Fear. When the mask comes off and the character's true sociopathy is revealed, it always comes as a sucker punch. And the third way to hide a villain in plain sight is to make the villain an investigator on the case. In the movie L.A. Confidential, our sleuth Edmund Exley takes a tip about a murder at the Night Owl Cafe. The case turns out to be a gruesome multiple homicide, and because it involves the death of a former police officer, it becomes a massive departmental priority. Exley's mentor, Precinct Captain Dudley Smith, runs every aspect of this high-profile investigation. Dudley is also the man behind the crime. He has been engaging in a years-long campaign of corruption that finally necessitated the Night Owl murders. As captain, Dudley is able to muddle the investigation to an astonishing degree, planting fake evidence, arresting false suspects, and even allowing those suspects to escape so that they can be killed in pursuit and lose the opportunity to defend themselves. Creating a sleuth who is an investigator on the case will give you similar opportunities to twist your plot in delicious directions. It also allows for the painful demolition of the relationship that had existed between your sleuth and your villain. Although Exley once thought of Dudley as someone he hoped to impress and to emulate, he now realizes that he must take his old mentor down if he's to have any hope of achieving justice. In many ways, villains are the heart of the mystery genre. We love to be surprised by them, we love to see them unmasked, and we love to understand what makes them tick. If you want to create a great plot that's driven by your villain's machinations, you might want to check out my video on how the villain creates his escalated cover-up. That is, what he'll do when his plans go haywire.